Hi, my dear Fundoo Class kids. How are you doing? Welcome to the session. So, here we have come up with a very exciting series on grammar. I know grammar is really intimidating. It is so monotonous. It is so boring. Oh my god, why are we doing grammar? I can understand. But we are going to ensure that you learn grammar in a fun filled way, right? So, welcome to Fundoo Classes where we offer fun and learning together. Before we commence with today's session, could I please request you to use the share button and invite all your friends? The session is going to be on verbs, and I'm sure you're going to really have a lot of fun and you're going to learn a lot, right? So please use the share button and quickly invite your friends for this very exciting class. Hi to everybody who has just joined. How are you doing? I hope you're keeping safe. I hope you're taking proper precautions. The virus is again here, and it's time that we put our masks on, maintain social distancing, and take good care of ourselves and take a responsibility of everyone around us, right? So, welcome to the session. We are going to learn today verbs. Let's get started. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Juhi Narula. I have 12 years of experience in training students for various competitive exams. I also happen to be a life skills coach and a content creator. I've done my bachelor's in technology and master's in business administration. So that's a quick about me. So today we are going to learn verbs, and this is going to be the first session of the entire series on verbs where we are going to discover what is a verb and what are the various types. And of course you will have a small questionnaire after each session, and you have to solve that questionnaire. We are going to do one exercise in the class and one will be your homework. So it is always important that whenever we learn the concepts of grammar, we practice a lot. If you're not going to practice the concepts of grammar, then you're going to forget them, and then the purpose of learning the concepts actually doesn't get achieved. It gets defeated. That we wouldn't definitely want for us, right? So we are going to ensure that we do a lot of practice, and we do our homeworks regularly, which would definitely be needed. Hi to everybody, those who have joined just now. Welcome to the Fundoo class. I hope you guys are really doing well. So let's get started. Now, when we talk about verbs, the first thing that comes in our mind is that what is a verb? What do we mean by a verb? So many definitions have come up. That is really intimidating. So let's quickly start exploring. So, see, my dear students, verbs are action words. You cannot have any sentence in English without having a verb in it, right? Even state of existence is a verb. So, if I say air is present everywhere, is the verb. If I say books are on the table, are remains to be the verb, right? Dancing, playing, singing, cooking, eating, singing, bathing, throwing, liking, disliking, creating, destroying, rejecting, all these are verbs, right? And actually, verb can be a sentence in itself. If I say sing, then of course it refers to you. If I say practice, that gives you an idea. If I say drive, that means it is you who is the implied subject. If I say drive, that means you drive. If I say sing, I say you sing. If I say open, you open, right? So there can be verbs that can be a single word. If I say Maria sings, so sings is the verb. Or there can be a phrase. Now what is this term phrase, ma'am? I'll tell you. If I say Juhi is teaching in the class, right? So let's quickly write this for you to understand it better. Just give me a minute. I've got my pen, and here I am writing a sentence for you. So Juhi is teaching, right? So is teaching is a verb phrase. Simple, isn't it? Right? Or Juhi has taught. So has taught is a verb phrase, right? So this is what do we mean by verb phrase. So there can be just one word, like in this case, Maria sings. Or if I say Maria dances, okay, Maria dances, cooks, teaches, sings, plays, right? So all these would be the verbs, right? So I'm sure it is clear to you what is a verb. Action words that tell you what's happening in the sentence, right? So if we are clear, then we are going to quickly move ahead and learn what is the next thing. So, like I said, verbs are doing words. They signify the part of the sentence which explains the action taking place, right? So, let's see some examples. He ran away. So, what's actually happening? He ran, right? So, the action is he ran away, he went. So, ran is the verb. She eats chocolate cakes on Sundays. Wow, what a disciplined person, isn't it? So, eating is the action that's happening. So, doing word. So, what is the action? Eat. So, eat is the verb. The horses gallop across the fields. So, galloping is the action. So, ran, eats, and gallop. You can see the bold portion. So, these are the verbs in the sentence. These are the action part of the sentences. What is the activity that's happening in the sentence? What is the activity the sentence is conveying that we call the doing words or the action words? So, I'm sure now we are really sorted. So, quickly give me a thumbs up if we are sorted with the concept, everybody. What is the basic definition? Of course, there's a lot to learn when we talk about verbs, and gradually we are going to definitely, sail through. Okay, so let's further proceed. It can be confusing because all the verbs are not easily identifiable as action. Then what are we going to do? So this chap is thinking, let's help him out. Say, if I say, I know your name, Jack thought about it. We considered several applications. So there is no action happening. The purpose of these verbs is to describe a state of being, existence, emotion, or a possession or a sense or an opinion, right? So there can be words like if I say I love you, right? So that's a feeling. I agree with you, that's again an emotion. I feel your pain, that's again a sense of thinking, associating, emotion, right? I am Juhi Narula, I have pencils, right? So I have pencils, that's possession, right? So that's not always necessary that verbs are action words. At times they can be non-action verbs also, right? So I'm sure you're clear now. So let's further proceed. Now, how do we recognize a verb? Yeah, we have to think about it, that what are the possible ways to recognize. So let's quickly learn. Right. So one is verbs almost always come after the noun or pronoun. So this is one thing, right? The nouns or pronouns that we are talking about, these are usually referred as subject in the statement. Subject is the doer. If I say Ram kicks a ball, can you see kick is the action and it is coming just after the noun Ram? Ram is the subject in this case, isn't it? Let's take some examples that would help you understand the recognition better. So take a look at this. If I make this statement, Mark eats his dinner quickly. So eats is the verb which is coming immediately after Mark. Mark is the noun and Mark is also the subject in the statement. Okay, so let's take a look at the second one. We went to the market. So we is the pronoun. Who went to the market? We. So we is the subject in the statement and went is the action word. That means it's a verb that's immediately coming after the pronoun. Let's take a look at the third one. You write neatly in your notebooks. So you is the subject, which is also a pronoun, and verb is immediately coming after it, which is write. They thought about all the prizes in the competition. So they remains to be the subject, which is also a pronoun, and verb is immediately coming after it, which is thought. Right? So I'm sure you are clear with one way to recognize a verb. Quickly give me a thumbs up if we are sorted here, and then we are going to proceed further, my dear friends. Great. So let's see what lies ahead. There are some other ways to recognize verbs in the sentence. Let's see how do we do it. If you're not sure if a word is a verb, you can ask yourself, can I do? How? Can I think? Can I wonder? Can I walk? Can I yawn? Yes, so these are the verbs, right? So like if I say, you can also ask what is happening. Mark eats his dinner quickly. So what is happening? Eating is happening. So eating is the verb, right? If I say they thought about all the prizes, so what is happening? They were thinking, Right, so thinking is happening. So thought is the verb, right? Isn't it an easy technique to recognize the verbs? So what are we going to do? We are going to uh, take a tiny whiny break before we start with our exercises. So everybody please take a break and then we are going to solve the questions. Everybody quickly go and take a break. You can have a glass of water, you can do some jumping jacks, you can take a deep breath, and then we are going to underline the verbs in the sentences. So it's really going to be a fun activity and I'm sure you're really going to enjoy it. So before we begin with the exercise, it's time for you to take a small break. Everybody, please go have a glass of water and then we are going to continue with the session. Great, great. So we are seeing some students coming back. We'll wait for everybody to come back before we begin with the discussion. Everybody, please take a quick break. If you are not taking a break, please do revise the concepts. Very important. Then only you'll have fun in solving the questions. Simple task, right? You already know the instructions, so it would be easy application of the concept, but it can only happen once you are clear with what verbs are, right? So take a break, have a glass of water and come back, and then we are going to discuss these interesting questions, right? Great. So we are seeing most of the students coming back. So let's quickly revise before we actually start solving the questions, right? So what did we talk about? We talked about verbs. And what are verbs? Verbs are action words, right? And we did talk about that not all the verbs are action words, but what are action words? Jumping, throwing, picking, cooking, dancing, learning, typing, singing, listening. All these are action words. But when I say thought, I thought about you, so thought is a non-action word. If I say I love you, then it is again a non-action verb, right? So there can be action verbs, there can be non-action verbs, right? And then we talked about that how do we recognize the verbs. So one, we came to this particular idea that usually just after the nouns or pronouns in the sentence we will find the verb. We did this technique to identify the placement of the verb, and also we thought that we are going to talk about can I do this, and I whenever I complete that particular part, that's where we identify the verb, right? So it's time to solve some questions so that we get better understanding. See, my dear students, whenever we talk about grammar, you will only get a better control over the grammar concepts when you'll do a lot of practice. If you'll just mug up the rules, if you'll just learn the definitions without learning the implementation, then you will be actually in a vicious cycle where we are learning but you're not solving the question, and then you forget the rules, then you relearn but you're not implementing, again you need to revise the rules. So if you really want to break this cycle and if you really want to master the concepts of grammar, see, why do we do grammar? Because my dear students, you cannot you know uh, conquer expertise in speaking, in writing, till you know the fundamentals of grammar well. And almost all the major competitive exams are going to test you on grammar, right? So in future, I'm sure many of you would want to be lawyers, so you might need to go for law entrance test, which we call clat. Or if you would want to go abroad to pursue your undergraduation, so in that case also you would want to have you would want to appear for SAT, and if you would want to appear for SAT, grammar is one area. So they have the section writing and language section where you get 44 questions, and most of these questions are based on either proofreader type. That means you need to act as a proofreader, look for grammatical errors and recognize and rectify them. And the next goal that you would be given is that you act as an editor. And what would be the role of an editor? The role of an editor would be to improvise the quality of the text. Now, to be a proofreader and to be an editor, you need to have strong hold of grammar. Without this, without knowing the fundamentals, you would not be able to mark the questions rightly. And that is something precisely the reason where we put a lot of emphasis on learning the grammar concepts, right? I hope my idea resonates well with you. So let's do some questions. Okay, so there are these 7 questions. I'll give you quick 2-3 minutes. Just go through these questions and try to identify the verbs, and then we are going to discuss. Please do that. Take quickly 2-3 minutes, and then we will get into the discussion. Take your time, use your notebooks. If you would want to write the sentence, please do. But quickly, do this exercise, and then we are going to discuss. Great, great. So there are some students who are saying that they finished with first, second, third statement. Good. Finish all the questions, and then we are going to get into the discussion mode. Always, whenever we are solving grammar questions, I would give you some time so that you can reach to your own answers. Once you become comfortable, then we are going to discuss, right? So we are not going to do it together, because whenever we do the questions together in grammar, it gives you a false confidence that we wouldn't want, right? We would really want to know how much we have learned. In case if you find that there is some glitch anywhere, you can watch the video, right? And you can take a look at the notes. So please do make the notes also of grammar. That keeps you more involved and more engrossed in the discussions. We'll wait for 1 more minute for everybody to wind up, and then we will start with the discussion. Wow, there's so many students who are saying that they have finished with the exercise. So it's time that we can begin with the discussion. So let's start doing it. So the instruction is that you need to underline the verb. So let's quickly read the sentence and identify that what is the action that's happening in the sentence, right? So let's get started. I'll mark the verb for you. My mother makes delicious cakes. So what is the activity that's happening? Making, right? So when we talk about makes is in the simple present tense. So just when we talk about this term tense, there are students who get confused with, ma'am, what is the difference between verb and tense? So we are going to explore and discuss this in detail, but just to give you an idea, tenses help you understand the time of action, and verbs tells you about the action. So what is the action that's happening? That the mother is making delicious cakes. She makes, and makes is in the present tense, so that will help you understand that it's her routine activity and she does that frequently, right? So how did you identify this? By taking a look at makes, that helps you understand that the tense would be simple present, right? So if somebody asks you that what is the difference between verb and tense, the simple answer would be verb tells you about the action and tenses tell you about the time of the action, right? So the action is that the mother makes cakes, and the verb is make, and the action is that she's making the cakes. So the tenses would be in the simple present. So action, when we talk about our routine habits, like I go to temple every day, I teach every day, I brush my teeth every day, and you use simple present tense to talk about day to day activities or talk about routine activities. Or also you can use simple present tense when we talk about universal truths. Man is a social animal, sun rises from the east, right? So we slightly digressed, but I'm sure we are clear. Makes is the verb You quickly give me a thumbs up. I'm sure most of you reached to the right answer. And like we said, that usually after the subject, you are going to identify the placement of the verb that is clearly seen in the first example, right? So let's move to the next sentence. The next is Alice wants to go abroad. So in this case, Alice is the subject, which is a noun like we were discussing, and wants would be the verb. So what is Alice wanting? She wants to go abroad. Go abroad means you want to go out of the country, right? So the reason is not given. We'll just figure out why would she want to go abroad, right? Maybe she wants to work hard, maybe wants to explore other nations, right? So let's move to the third statement. Gautam works for an insurance company. So in this case, Gautam is a noun, and what is the action that's happening? Works. So we can clearly identify that works remains to be the verb in this particular sentence, right? So you are seeing that immediately after the noun, as we were discussing, you will find the verb easily placed, right? So works is an action word, right? Now, wants is a non-action word and makes us again an action verb. So at times we might really be confused between what is an action verb. If you can do it, then it's an action verb. If you can feel it, then it is a non-action verb. So she wants, that's a desire. So we'll classify wants as non-action, and makes as an action that's happening, and works as an action that's happening. So we'll call it action verbs, right? So I hope we are clear with the first, second, and the third example. It's time that we move to the fourth sentence. Let's quickly see and learn that what is the verb in this case. The boys solved the puzzle in few minutes, right? So if you are going to see, solve is the action that's happening. So we are going to identify solve as the verb in this case, right? So this is how we will usually see that a sentence that you find in English has parts of speech. It would have a verb in it, you will have a subject in it, or a noun to say which acts as a subject. You can have a preposition in it, and that's how various components help us to make a sentence in English, right? So let's move to the fifth sentence. The wind blew fiercely. So what's happening here? You will see that the action is blew, right? So the wind is blowing fiercely. Now, blew is the verb. Could anybody please tell me that what is the action, what is the role of this word fiercely? What is this word trying to suggest? Okay, somebody is saying that the wind was very strong. Yes, very good. But what is this part of speech? I mean, if I say there are 8 parts of speech that we must have learned in our junior classes. If not, I'll make a quick list for you. Noun, pronouns, adjectives, adverbs, preposition, verbs. That's what we are doing, right? Conjunctions and interjections. So I'll quickly tell you about them. A quick one-line definition. Nouns, name of a person, place, animal, or a thing. Pronouns that you use instead of nouns. Adjectives that tell you about the quality. Blue bag, so blue is an adjective, right? Adverbs that tell you about the quality of verbs. Adverbs and adjectives. Prepositions are connectors. Verbs we have already learned. Conjunctions are used to combine, and interjections are sudden expressions. Wow, hooray, yippee, right? So can you identify fiercely is which part of speech? Just for I'm sure you must be so very aware of a few grammatical concepts. So just to check that, we can quickly take a look on this particular word fiercely. So how is the wind blowing? Fiercely, right? So fiercely is an adverb, right? So that's what we have learned. Adverb. So whenever we learn grammar, we should always try to associate the other concepts, right? So that tells you about how the action is happening. That's where we bring this term adverb in the picture. So how is the wind blowing? Fiercely, right? So adverb is used to tell us more about the verb. right? Can you see fiercely is telling us that how the wind is blowing? It's blowing fiercely. So fiercely is an adverb, right? We got few correct answers. Kudos, bravo, job very well done. So I'm sure we are clear with this particular example. Let's move to the next question. Let's see. The terrorists tried to blow up the bridge. So in this case, tried is basically the verb in the sentence, right? So what is the action that's happening? The terrorists tried, right? So tried remains to be in past. That means the action has already happened, but I'm sure we are able to recognize the verb easily, right? So let's take a look at the last statement. The girl cried for help. So what is the action happening? Cried. So this is the verb for us, right? So I'm sure you really found it interesting to solve this exercise. Wasn't it very easy? And you say that grammar is difficult, not fair, right? So we should leave this complaint, and what should we do? So to create a list of more verbs, right? So try and identify 10 action verbs that you do in your day-to-day activities. That can be taking bath or cooking or playing or studying, right? I've given you a lot of examples, and to share on a Fundoo Class mobile app, right? Or on a Facebook group and or an Instagram page. And you're not going to forget using the tag hashtag Fundoo Class Live, right? Also, what are we going to do? We are going to, ask our friends to download a Fundoo Class mobile app, and you can easily get it on Play Store, or if you're using iPhones, you can download the app from the App Store. And if you really like the video, what are we going to do? We are going to leave some interesting and encouraging comments, right? And what is very important is that I'm eagerly waiting for your videos. Also, there would be a small assignment, like I said, which you're going to find, and there would be solutions also to that particular assignment. So we need to ensure that we are very regular in practice. If we are going to practice the questions regularly, parallelly, then we are going to find that we are getting better with the concepts of grammar and we are at ease. But if you will keep the exercises pending, then you will find difficulty in comprehending the concepts, right? So in verbs, like the next session would also talk about verbs. So you'll have a series of verbs. You will really be comfortable in the coming sessions only if the previous sessions that have happened, you are able to gather that concept, right? And how would you gather that concept? When you will uh, make quick notes, revise and attempt the questions, right? So I'm eagerly waiting for the videos. I would so very love to see them. Please do make the videos. And what is very important is, in life, in grammar, that we keep learning and we keep revising. If we will not revise regularly and if we will not learn regularly, then we will become stagnant, and that's where our progress stops. We would never want to be stagnant, right? And especially with grammar, my dear students, it really requires effort to overcome the mental fear and phobia. We have seen so many students, in later stage, like I previously mentioned, that there would be so many competitive exams. If you would want to go for an MBA, for higher studies, you want to go abroad to pursue your studies, or if you want to be a civil servant, or if you would want to be a bank officer, all these papers would definitely have grammar. Then students break the rhythm, because in later classes, in your senior classes, you would want to pursue sciences or humanities. So, or even if you are doing commerce, you would not be much in touch with the grammar concepts, right? It's not going to happen. But what happens is, in the competitive exams, these concepts are definitely tested, and that's where forgetting everything and starting all over again, that really becomes pain. So that's what we are not going to do, because we are going to put our heart and souls, and we are going to work very very hard and ensure that we have strong grip on our fundamentals, right? So thank you so much for your wonderful participation. Keep working hard and help us spread the word. Do ask your friends to download the app Fundoo Class. Bye bye, take care, God bless you.